Welcome to the Great Kart Rebuild. What you see here is almost every nut and bolt and component for my GX UK kart. As you can see, it's completely stripped down and ready for some TLC. This is a 5-part series where we take these pieces, fingers crossed, and turn them back into a working kart. Along the way, I'll clean and fix and rebuild and probably lose a few screws, literally and figuratively. So join me as I rebuild this kart step by step, starting with cleaning up this mess. So I have an ethos when it comes to keeping a kart clean, and the reason I have an ethos when it comes to keeping a kart clean is I believe a clean kart is a reliable kart. Because also a clean kart is an easy kart to work on. A clean kart is a kart where you can see if there is an issue because there isn't dirt everywhere. Also, when it comes to taking off nuts and bolts, if they're clean, if they're new, if they're fresh, they're easy to get on and off. And it means if there's ever the need to change things quickly, you can do when everything is clean. It makes life easier. So the thing I'm going to start with in this video is my steering wheel. I have been looking for a new steering wheel for ages, but the problem is, for whatever reason, these little bits of synthetic leather with some rubberized gripping on them and a bit of metal are really expensive. And as you can see, this one's a little bit yellowed. We've got grip tape around where the rubber grips should be because it was so worn away on this particular steering wheel. I've been looking for a new one, I can't find one, so what we're going to do is we're going to strip off all this grip tape, we're going to give it a good thorough clean, and we're going to try and get this back as clean as it possibly can be. It won't look as good as new, but it will look good. So let's get going on with that. What we have to do now is get all of this really grubby tape off of it. So what I'm simply going to do is take a standing knife to it, cut through the tape. Got to be very delicate around the leathery bits, and then we just simply peel all of this away. Oh God, it was really bad under here, wasn't it? Oof. Wow. So here we are. I got a nice little mat out, and what we're going to do, very simply, is just coat this in this degreaser, nice and coated. Let it all saturate for a sec. Just to get the easy stuff off before we move on to the slightly more extreme version, which is some hot water, some fairy liquid, and scourer. Now, this is grained. As you can see, there is a grain in this. So rather than going across it, I'm going in it. Now, I am aware that with this wheel, if you bought a brand new one, it's like got silver lines running through it, but they're mostly worn away now because it's such an old wheel. That is stage 1 done. So what we're going to do next for stage 2 is we're going to use some leather cleaner on it. So what I'm using is Autoglym leather cleaner. You can use whatever leather cleaner you've got, but it's what the kind of thing I recommend to do is, and what we want to do is we give it a good spray. Right, so now that I've sprayed the Autoglym on it, we want to give it a good scrub with the sponge. And then we wait for a couple of minutes for this to do its work.
A few minutes later.
It's been a few minutes, the leather cleaner has worked its magic. So I'm now going to wipe it all off and see how much of a better job it's done. See, I think it's got a lot of this heavily soiled stuff off of it, and I think it's looking better than it was. However, I have one more thing to try, which is bicarbonate of soda and an acid of some sort. I didn't have any lemon juice, so I'm using distilled vinegar. But what it does, it makes a little bit of a paste, then you get a little sponge, and you just apply it. Again, I'm going to leave that to soak for a little bit. I'm going to come back when that's settled itself in. Now we've let that settle a little bit, I'm going to give it a quick rinse off. Well, I think that's definitely looking cleaner. It's obviously never going to be perfect. I'm never going to get it fully white again. We're going to put this to one side and let it dry, and then once it's dried, we will start to put the grip tape back onto it.
The next day.
Steering wheel is now dry and ready to have a wrap applied to it. So what I've bought is I've bought a self-adhesive tennis racket wrap. This one's Rack-X, got it from Amazon, and we're going to try and apply it to the steering wheel. And then I have some red electrical tape to tie up the ends and make it look better than it currently does. So let's get into it, shall we? So that is half of the steering wheel done. And it's half of the steering wheel done because I didn't buy enough. I thought I bought enough, but I didn't. So there is a new wrap on its way to me. It'll be here tomorrow. I'm not going to show you another time lapse of me fitting the other side to the steering wheel, but what you will see now, thanks to the power of editing, is some nice close-up shots of it being finished. I'm actually really happy with the result. It's a really nice grip. It's actually a nicer grip than what I had last year. Obviously I've got gloves on when I've got it on, but it's also nicely sturdy on, and it's a little bit tidier taped up. So very, very happy, and we will move on to cleaning the next thing, which will basically be all of the metalwork bits of the kart. So all the hubs, all the metalwork and all that kind of stuff. I will time lapse a lot of it. I will bring you up to date on some details of some different bits of it. But other than that, I think we'll be good. Right, on to that. So here we are at the table with all of the metalwork parts of the kart, and we're going to start doing some cleaning. So the things I have to do the cleaning are some elbow grease, some GT85, auto glue resin polish to polish up some of the bits that I want to be shiny, some different various scrubbers, a toothbrush, really, really important because you want to get into some of the nooks and crannies, and 2000 grit sandpaper, very, very, very high grit sandpaper, which is good for chrome things and for making things shine a little bit more and getting a bit of the surface stuff off. So I'm going to try it on some of these hubs and see if it come off. You can work on these because these aren't magnesium. So yeah, I'm going to time lapse a lot of this. Anyway, let's get going.
So my process for this is quite simple. It is smother everything in the degreaser because I want to get as much of the grease and dirt and stuff off as I possibly can. Give it a good rub using a toothbrush to scrub into all the nooks and crannies. Then once I've got as much of the heavy dirt off as possible, I then start to use the sandpaper just to rough off some of the rough edges. I'm being very gentle with the sandpaper, also using lubrication with the sandpaper in the way of using the degreaser. And then once I've finished cleaning everything off and I've got everything as clean as I want it, I give it a wipe down and then I spray it over with the GT86 because that then helps stop it rusting and going bad. And then once I've finished cleaning off everything else, it goes in a little Ziploc bag to keep it away from the elements, ready for when I want to rebuild it.
So we're taking a very short break from cleaning with Alex to cooking with Alex, because what we need to do is we've got the front hubs. Now with the front hubs, the bearings are very difficult to get out, and I want to get the bearings out so I can clean the bearings, decide whether I need new bearings. I probably need new bearings, and just give it a good clean out. But they're difficult to get out. So what we do is we take an oven, we turn it to 200-ish, and we pop the hubs in the oven. Get them a little bit warm, check them every few minutes, and once they get warm enough, the hubs should just fall straight out. But don't leave it for too long.
A few minutes later.
Oven gloves on. Yep, here comes the bottom one. This one's got to go there, there we go. Here comes that one. Leave them in for a little bit longer. So yeah, there you go. Bearing out, and then there's that retaining washer that sits between the two bearings. We'll come back when the other one's ready.
A few minutes later.
Right, it's been in there a few minutes now. Let's go check on my hubs. Oven smells. There we go. Give it a good bash because you've got the top collet that comes off. Now take this one. Good bash, and they come off. Let them cool down, and we'll give them a clean. We'll be back with once he's cooled down with the time lapse. So After a lot of time, that is all of the components clean. Now obviously you don't have to go into the detail that I've gone into to making sure everything is spotless. I want it to look nice, so I've gone for making it all as spotless and as shiny as possible. But I also really believe that having components clean makes them easier to fit, easier to work with, and easier to notice if there's any cracks or anything's broken. So it does really help with your maintain. And I guess that all this dirt adds up to extra weight. So if you want to try and save some weight, like I'm definitely trying to do, making sure it's all clean might knock off a couple of grams here or a couple of grams there. And we're going to focus on the bodywork now, ready for when the sticker kit comes. So let's get going. So, as we reach the end of our cleaning episode, getting everything all cleaned and ready, we have one which is a particular bugbear of mine, which is cleaning the side pods. They are a pain to clean, and you need a couple of special tools for it. So obviously lots of the degreaser spray that we've been using before, and we're also going to use an electrical sander. Now this I think I got from the central aisle at Lidl or Aldi for like 30 quid. So it's a really easy thing to pick up. They're really cheap, and you can get these from basically any DIY store. Also really cheap. I bought like 20 of them for like a couple of quid. So that's well worth something getting, because if you really want to get some of these deep dirty stains off, you really can. And the reason I find it really important to get all these stains off is because when you put your nice new sticker kit on your cart and you have a dirty edge like this, it doesn't actually look too great. So it's something that I really wanted to make sure for when my new sticker kit comes, it looks really, really great and doesn't get blemished by the back of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through cleaning all this. The first stage is basically an initial clean where we just spray it with the degreaser to get everything as clean as it possibly can do, and then we'll get on to the sanding. So now, if you wanted to, you could mess about with thinners and vinegars and all these different things to try and get some more of this dirt off. But it's going to take you hours. You know, you can, if you don't want to go and buy a sander like I have, you can use some high grit sandpaper and get that off. It'll do the same job. However, this way I'm going to show you is just going to save you loads and loads of time and get it done really nice and easy and give you a really great finish. So let's get into that.
So the method for this is pretty simple. You spray on the degreaser to lubricate the area, and then you use your sander to get off all the marks, and just keep going until it's all nice and back to white.
So that is these now completely clean. As you can see, we've got all the dirt and all the grime off of them, and they look like brand new. So yeah, so now when I do put the stickers on, it will look way better and be nice and shiny and white and look right with everything else that I do. As far as cleaning the cart goes, that is everything done. There's a couple other things I will do along the way. So there's the fuel lines and things off of the engine that I really want to change because they're old and yellow and not very nice. Also a bit of contamination, not great for the engine, so I want to get those changed. And we're going to do a whole separate video on trying to bring my seat back to life. I'm going to attempt a video on it, and we'll see how it comes out. But yeah, so other than that, that is part one of the video done. Cart is all cleaned and ready to start being rebuilt. So if you want to see the next video, I need you to press that like button, press the subscribe button to get notified when that video goes live. I'm hoping to get that done as quickly as possible, and that'll be putting the whole front end of the cart together and getting the chassis jigged. I've got a lot of work to do because that's only happening in a few days. So I'll see you on the next one.